Hi there, Leonie. How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you for coming on to the little podcast. It's just a small thing to discuss your journey thus far, and even prior to the journey of you coming to me, what was the thought processes and all of that, and then just what's being with me and a bit of programming consistency has done for you thus far. So just a little bit of a background, if you can just say, like, because you are extremely knowledgeable in this field. Mm-hmm. You are.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, you are. Like, it doesn't take much for me to like tell you something that you already know, which definitely does help in this setting of me trying to explain to people that that you know what. So what I'm saying is not just going on what I believe. It's obviously just as much. So you're a Pilates instructor. You've qualified in personal training, and there's something else, correct?
Biomechanics.
Yeah,
coaching.
well, that's a big one. So so that's a huge one. So when you came to me, how many years? I think there was a little bit of a gap where training didn't really exist for you. If you can maybe just touch base on that time.
Yeah. So gradually kind of dwindled over. My parents were ill, and COVID, and injury, and one thing after another, and I just basically minimum training, so not consistent. Just little bursts where I would go back and try and do stuff, and then I would get disheartened and demotivated and just not.
I think a lot of people go through that. I'm sure you've been in the industry long enough to vouch for that. Is quite a consistent habit that we see in the industry of people, and it can happen to anyone.
Yeah. And I think it was just at that point where my age as well, and things were changing hormonally. There's all sorts of stuff going on, and I got to that point where I thought, I need to do something. I'm not doing it myself. I need a kick up the bum, basically.
And that's where I've come in. So you started with me. Well, word of mouth obviously is how you came across. And what was, if I may ask, what was your initial reaction, like your first week of training with me? Was it a gradual like did I almost soften you back into the realm of workouts, or did you feel it quite?
I wouldn't say soften me. If you had done, I think you were cautious enough, because obviously I have injuries. I've got hypermobility and certain joints and things. So I think for you to have not done it to go on straight in and batter me, I would probably have said no.
So I think that's again probably why I've brought that up, is to bring that to the attention of personal training shouldn't be a thing where if you come into my program, I need to listen to you and what your needs are and then work around that. You've been with me now for over 2 months. What has the biggest change been since starting?
Biggest change, I guess, my motivation as well, because I'm quite happy now. I'll do things myself because I know I'm going to come to you, and a big change in my strength, because I'd lost a lot of strength. I was always quite strong, and then over the years of getting older, it had gone, and that was really apparent when I came in to you. And you want to start in your head, you can still lift whatever you used to lift, and that wasn't happening. You know? And it's now coming back, and I can see that. I can feel that. I feel healthier. I'm sleeping, which I wasn't.
That was a big. So I was actually going to ask, what is the biggest change you've probably seen in this? Your strength has picked up drastically in that time. I do want to touch base maybe just after this question about the benefits of the resistance training that I think is overlooked, but your sleep. Was a huge, that was one of those things where you first came to me and you're like, I want to get back into training because the sleep has definitely been negatively affected me to some extent. Now training consistently has switched that around. Well, that's good. So in terms of the resistance training, I think a lot of people prefer classes, fast-paced style. I think you also enjoyed that fast-paced style of like high-intensity training, circuit training. And just coming from me, the resistance training has definitely, I think, benefited you, and the problems, the injuries, the hypermobility. When you're working with high-pace workouts, it can be affected. So what I say to that, with the resistance training, you pretty much only do resistance now with me. Yes, the strength has played an important role. In terms of the programming, has that also benefited you on a weekly basis? When I mean program, in terms of the periodization that I have chosen for you.
Yeah. Because I'm never, you're obviously doing it, I would say, sensibly, and that you're giving it time to rest, and, you're not working every muscle group every day. You're making sure that you're working one enough, which, you're doing enough exercises on that muscle group to be effective.
Yeah.
I think, but without, overdoing it.
And you started your running now as well, which obviously I have to take into account.
I went out last night.
Okay, and then what, legs tomorrow? No? But I would probably want to ask you this question, and for you to answer it as almost like a motivator to maybe some people, is what do you think people should look at when looking for a personal trainer, but also why a personal trainer and resistance training and just getting into that gym is important?
Yeah, I think, well, particularly for my age, I've done resistance training all my life, basically, but I had stopped. And I think when you, particularly someone, a woman of my age, it's really important because your muscle mass depletes when you get to hit menopause or whatever, and it's really important that you keep it, just for general health, for support. You don't want to fall over and break things. You really need to have that level of resistance. Plus, you're always going to burn calories. The more muscle, the more calories you burn. So to think that it's not going to help you to look better is, daft.
No, 100%. So you definitely do think it is a beneficial thing to have in your life, as, it's an investment at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And then just to finish off, I've put it on my jackets, I've put it in as the discipline and consistency will take you places, talent, right? With that being said, I can obviously only do so much as a trainer, but you show up and you give the consistency and the discipline that it deserves in order for you to see the progress that you're obviously seeing now. Do you feel like there's days, and the reason why I'm asking, because I already know the answer to that, there's days that obviously you don't feel like coming, but you show up anyway. What is that? For the final question, what do you say to yourself? Obviously you pay me, which is a big is a big thing, but overall, like in terms of a personal...
I just know that if I don't, so sometimes I don't want to do it, I'm tired, whatever, and I go and I'm fine when I get there, and I feel better when I walk out the door, and that's what makes me show up, because I know that if there was a day where I arrived and I wasn't feeling better and I couldn't do it, maybe I wasn't well, that'd be fair enough. I would say that, but 90%, 99% of the time, you get there, you do it, you feel better at the end of it.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Leonie, for coming on.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.